Hey there, friends. Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. I'm sure I'm not the only one that is wondering where 2024 went, but it is now behind us and it is time to uh, turn that page and move on to 2025. So, thought this would be a good chance to do a little bit of a reflection of what happened in 2024 and what's coming up both in 2025 and in the future. So, I tell you, 2024 was a whirlwind for me. I really had a hard time keeping up. So, one of the things I really wanted to accomplish was to get this channel up and running. I've actually had the channel for almost probably 3 years now, but this was the first time I actually made a commitment to post on a regular basis. So, first week of May is when I posted my first Learning Hand Tool Series video. I posted 34 total. That puts me roughly one per week, a little bit below that. The goal was to get out at least one video a week. Didn't quite hit that, but I got close. So we got one video per week on average of the Learning Hand Tool series where we talk about Sloyd, Sloyd hand tool, woodworking, teaching children Sloyd and all that. And we're going to come back to that here in just a minute. So in addition to that, I made my first couple of sets of toddler furniture, sold a few pieces as well. Of course, that was inspired by my grandson, who is now 19 months old. Uh, just got back from visiting him, so I had a fantastic Christmas holiday season. So getting out to see my son and his family and my grandson. So sold a couple of pieces of the furniture. This was the first time I had actually sold furniture for a profit, so that was a good deal. Um, One of the probably biggest changes for me was getting out there and teaching wood turning. So, as many of you know from some of my other videos, that wood turning is really one of my first loves in terms of woodworking. And I had several classes I taught this year related to wood turning, in particular, uh, helping new turners make their very first bowl. So it's a lot of fun doing that. So really had a great time doing that. The other thing is, I do have a full-time job, and this year was an incredibly busy year, requiring a lot of travel. So I would be gone for sometimes 2 or 3 weeks at a time, which forced me to close the shop for extended period of time and actually walk away from some classes that I could have taught on wood turning or making charcuterie boards. Had to turn down some of those opportunities. Didn't get as much furniture built as I would like. But uh, I don't want anybody, though, to consider that a complaint because it's certainly not. The company I work for this year was sold and then subsequently went through a restructure. So a lot of very fine people, through no fault of their own, uh, you know, found themselves on the other side of a layoff. So um, I feel very fortunate and blessed that I still have a steady paycheck coming in, especially as retirement is just over the horizon. I can actually see that coming pretty quick. So I do feel very fortunate and blessed to still have that steady paycheck. But we live in uncertain times, and we never know exactly what's going to happen. So retirement for me, which is still at least 4 years away, based on planning, may come a little bit sooner, and I need to be ready for it if that happens. So that kind of brings us to now 2025 and where we're going after that. So uh, there are, I always joke around, when people think ask me about what I'm going to do after I retire and things like that. And I'll make some silly comment about, well, when I finally grow up, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to do when I grow up. And I've been, wrestling with that. I've had a very fine career that I'm very pleased with, but that's really not what I want to do when I quote grow up. So I guess retirement is the time when I'm going to grow up. And as I look back over my life and think about the things that have brought me the most joy, and that really has to do in the area of teaching. So I've always been very fond of teaching a much younger generation or a much older generation, whether that is working with my son in the Boy Scouts, even working as a camp counselor before that, teaching Sunday school to second and third graders. So teaching Bible lessons, with the Boy Scouts, teaching knots, fire starting, various campcraft, things like that. Just really enjoyed that. Enjoyed working with the children in Sunday school, and I enjoyed teaching the senior adults in Sunday school and church as well. But now that I'm sliding to the right on the age timeline, it's getting harder and harder for me to work with older people because now I'm becoming one of those older people. But those are the things that have really brought me the most joy um, over my lifetime. So I'm sitting here thinking about that, and then there's two societal issues, if you will, that have uh, I don't know if it's fair to call them problems or even what the correct term is, but they concern me a little bit. And the two societal issues that I've become more aware of here recently over the last 2 years is senior adult loneliness, particularly senior men. And these are men that have worked their entire life. They are now out of a job due to retirement or being forced out. Possibly family is not close by. Our families are dispersed now. A lot of times we don't have the kids and the grandkids here with us. And so I'm going to be in that same boat because my son lives out of state. My grandchild is now out of state. So I don't get to see them nearly as much as I would like. So I can see this now as the senior adults, particularly men who have worked their entire life uh, building a career, and subsequently their self-worth seems to be tied up a lot in that career. Okay, and believe me, I know how that feels. And then all of a sudden, they really don't have a direction. So I've been thinking about this. I've watched some documentaries and things like that. So this starts to concern me. So I'm wondering is there a way then to take my shop, the hand tools and the power tools out in the main shop, and develop a community of older adults, particularly older men that need a sense of purpose, and help them redirect their energies, maybe their skills, into benefiting the community at large. All right. So that's kind of area number one is this loneliness factor in senior adults, and how can woodworking be a help to that, right? The other thing is the children of our time and the fact that they are so disconnected in many cases by technology from being able to use their hands and simple tools to do creative work. And that's not, I, I certainly don't want to give the impression that the kids don't like that, because if I were to lay out my tools in front of kids, and I've done this several times, the kids are just fascinated by it. They'll grab the tools and they don't necessarily make anything beautiful, but they make something and they enjoy that experience. So if you think about Sloyd in particular, that's why Sloyd was created to begin with, because in the 1880s, 1870s, 1880s, uh, Europe was rapidly industrializing, and the children were starting to lose that connection with their hand tool work and using their hands, and that's where the whole idea of Sloyd came from. And Sloyd is not woodworking. Sloyd is using your hands to build something useful, creative, or beautiful. It can be pottery, it can be crocheting, weaving, whatever, but it is using your hands. Of course, I embrace the woodworking part of that. So, how can we give the children an opportunity to use their hands to help them develop problem solving skills, perseverance, patience, uh, and an overall um, commitment to being good citizens? And that's really the why Sloyd was developed to begin with. So, I'm thinking, is there a way for me to use my shop, my tools, and things like that to bring woodworking education to the children of St. Johns County? And that certainly is possible. But then I get to thinking that the two issues that I've been talking about are not mutually exclusive. Why can't we then take some of these older adults that need a purpose and need a reason to get out and do things and need to have a positive impact? Why can't we take these older adults and have them working with the children then to build woodworking? One of the things that I really, really like about Sloyd is that, one, you're not teaching the children to be excellent woodworkers. Okay, you're teaching them all these other skills through woodworking, and the teacher themselves does not have to be a skilled artisan. And in fact, the Otto Saloman is very clear about this, that it is better to have someone who is dedicated to helping a child, um, more so than having somebody that is an excellent artisan or craftsman. Okay. And I certainly fall into that first category. So, wanting to help children, um, and help these other adults, older adults, help children as well. Um, so this is kind of where I'm going with the future. I started Ancient City Craftsworks as a with the idea of making a maker space. Now, right now, it's just a one person operation, but the idea was to have a space where different craftspeople could come in, have a dedicated space to do their craft, primarily woodworking, but whatever craft was they were passionate about. That did not come to fruition. There were just no spaces available here in the area at the time. Then this shop came available, this opportunity. So I had to scale that back a little bit. But that idea just will not go away. So I still think that's in the future, a kind of a two-pronged approach, working with senior adults who need kind of to refocus their purpose, channeling that then to helping children get into woodworking or handcrafts to develop these skills, problem solving, etc. So that's really where I want to go with Ancient City Craftswork in the future. And this actually, hopefully, becomes my retirement journey and my plan. So the reason I'm coming to you today, and this is hard for me, so please bear with me here. I am a fiercely independent person, and me coming to the community and asking for help is is it's not easy for me. All right, but there is no way I can do this by myself. In order to realize this dream of helping both these senior adults and helping children, I need some help, financial help, maybe volunteer help. I don't know what it's all going to entail yet, but if you are willing to help, and I do have one major caveat here. If you are willing to help, it needs to be out of um, your excess. Okay, if you're having trouble paying the bills, if you're having trouble just buying grocery, and I know a lot of people out there are, you know, I would much rather have your prayers than your financial support. So if you can't afford to help, please, um, by all means, do not, do not. But if you are able to help, there's a couple of ways you can do this. First of all, on the YouTube page, there is the button to join. Uh, so earlier we talked about my YouTube journey. I did make it to the lowest level of monetization. There's two layers. There's the monetization where you can accept memberships into your community. There's a higher level where you get ad revenue. Okay, I made it to the first level. I have not made it to the second level. I do expect to make it sometime in 2025. But for the first level, we do have the opportunity to create a membership community. So when you are looking at the videos, there's a button down there to join. And that is where I am going to be talking about the journey of creating this space for the senior adults and for the children. Okay? I am not a nonprofit yet. I hope this becomes a nonprofit at some point, but I'm not a nonprofit. This is not a charitable donation. This would be a gift if you're able to support. But I do commit that anything that comes in through either the membership or a super thank, super chat, something like that. If there's any type of gift that comes in that way, that will be reserved 100% for buying the tools and materials needed to get this type of activity up and running. Once I get into the ad revenue part of that, that is going to be used um, to help fund shop expenses. Right now, I'm doing that out of my own pocket, even though um, I made money in 2024. I did not make a profit, so the extra money is being covered by my day job, if you will. So ad revenue will go to shop expenses. Anything that comes in the form of a gift or membership will be reserved 100% for the children. So that's one way. You can go through YouTube and either become a member of the channel, a paying member, and you'll get behind the scenes videos, photos, and things of like that as we are developing this. Once I have a budget and a long-term plan, that's where they're going to be posted and shared. So you'll be able to see all that as part of the member site. If you're not really interested in that type of activity, I do have a page set up on my website. I'll put a link down in the description below. The advantage there is anything you donate through YouTube, YouTube takes 30% to cover their own expenses. Whereas if you donate directly from the website, the only thing I'm paying for is credit card fees. So I'm keeping roughly 97%, 97.5% of those donations. So those are two ways that you could potentially support that. I don't want anyone to ever feel obligated to give. You know, I do appreciate you watching. I appreciate you commenting. I appreciate the encouragement that I get from the people out there. You know, truly, truly grateful for all that. But if you have an opportunity to support this dream, and if you want to be a part of that, please consider giving a gift below. Okay. Well, friends, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I do appreciate you sticking around, especially if you've made it all the way to the end of the video. I hope you have a wonderful 2025. And as always, take care. God bless.